Hello again, rail fans, and welcome back to another video. We begin this journey on January 25th, 2022, and we are located at CP Kyle along the CSX Scotts Long Secondary at milepost 117. On this day, we were here for a very good reason because taking a joyride through Columbus once again was CSX train P001, which you should know by now as being CSX's office car special. It has been a good month or two since I last saw CSX's office car special, but at that particular time it was traveling down CSX's Columbus subdivision. Since it was on a different part of the CSX system, and for the most part they finally got themselves back together after that catastrophe in Dunn, North Carolina, I decided to go out and see it again. After standing in the cold for many lengthy minutes, CSX P001's headlights can be seen in the distance, and about 5 minutes after that, the office car special slowly made his way through Kyleville on his way to Columbus, and eventually his home base in Jacksonville, Florida. Giving the executives of CSX a tour of the system once again were CSX F40PH-2's number 1 and number 2, sporting a Baltimore and Ohio inspired paint scheme. What I did not get a chance to talk about last time we saw this train was all the passenger cars except for the moonlit dome behind the F40PHs are named for some notable figures under CSX's family tree. The names listed on the passenger cars represent people who work for CSX and their predecessors from the past all the way through present day, but have all pushed the rail industry forward to where we stand today. Anyways, I thought this was a pretty good catch considering the office car special has had some bad luck over the past several months. It was nice to see it roll through Columbus yet again. After catching CSX's office car special, we then moved several days later onto January 30th, 2022, and we are located next to Norfolk Southern's Dayton District at the Philippi Road River Crossing in Hilliard, Ohio. As you can probably tell, you're already looking at the reason as to why we were here today. Norfolk Southern AC 44C6M number 4000 was leading mixed freight train 170 up to Conway, Pennsylvania today. By the time we got here, 170 had been tied down for about an hour awaiting a new crew to take it to Conway, Pennsylvania, or however much distance a 12-hour shift would allow. Considering the spot where the locomotives were sitting, photo opportunities were pretty limited and we had to make do with what we had when we got there, but it was still nice seeing Sonic the Hedgehog once again nonetheless. After seeing Norfolk Southern 4000 at Philippi Road, we then move a week later onto February 6, 2022, and we are located at the Route 161 railroad crossing in Worthington, Ohio, next to CSX's Columbus subdivision. The reason why we were here was because another ethanol train was heading for the eastern seaboard with a routing through Columbus, specifically CSX K417. K417 is an as-needed loaded ethanol train that comes off of the Canadian National Railway in Chicago Clearing, Illinois, and heads for Selma, North Carolina, and can commonly be seen with CN power. And that was certainly no exception today, although one of the Canadian National locomotives assigned to K417 was a 100th anniversary unit, so we came out with the sole purpose of seeing that. Our timing couldn't have been any better because right as we pulled up to the railroad crossing, I saw a green signal and headlights going over the railroad crossing just north of here, so I got set up for the catch. In addition to the 100th anniversary GEVO on the front of the train, another CN GEVO was on the back of the train acting as a DPU. After seeing the CN 100th anniversary unit, we then move a couple of weeks later onto February 17th, 2022, and we are located at the Central Ohio Model Railroad Club in Worthington, Ohio. On this day, we were here to do the weekly operating session. As I was about to get my trains out of the car, I heard a deep rumble that was getting louder by the second, telling me that a train was coming. What you are seeing right now doesn't happen very often on the Sandusky District. This is Norfolk Southern northbound intermodal train 233, which is a nightly stack train that operates between Norfolk, Virginia and Chicago, Illinois. Normally, 233 makes its way northbound up the Sandusky District in the middle of the night. However, depending on what time he reaches Rickenbacker Yard down in Lockbourne and all the work that he has to do there, sometimes 233 can run earlier than its normal schedule, and you can see it pass through in relatively good daylight. However, on this day it was raining, so the lighting wasn't the best, but I had to work with what I got. After 233 passed the club, we then went inside to do the operating session and didn't see any other trains for the rest of the night. After watching Norfolk Southern 233 pass the train club in the rain, we then moved several days later onto February 21st, 2022, and we find ourselves back at the Route 161 railroad crossing in Worthington, Ohio. On this day, I was here with a friend of mine from the Central Ohio Model Railroad Club for two reasons. Reason one was because we were here to do a little railfanning of the Columbus subdivision because it was abnormally warm on this day. The second reason why we were here was because we were getting reports of an empty ethanol train that was profiled to go northbound up the Columbus subdivision on that day, which had two Canadian National locomotives assigned to take it, and one of them was a 100th anniversary unit. After a little bit of time of waiting, and after some of my friends from the Central Ohio Railfanning Group and the Central Ohio Model Railroad Club coming and going, I noticed one of the signals on track 1 for the Columbus subdivision went green for a southbound train. Unfortunately, we had to wait almost an hour and 30 minutes before southbound local freight train H709 appeared from the north. CSX H709 is a daily turn job that operates between Columbus, Ohio and Cary, Ohio, and usually handles rock and general merchandise. Unfortunately for us, he was returning to Parsons Yard with no train in tow. just the locomotive heading light to Parsons Yard, which was CSX ES40DC 5317. About 20 or 30 minutes passed since H709 made its way south before the train of the day soon made its way north, which was empty ethanol train K416. K416 originates in Selma, North Carolina and heads back to Chicago Clearing, Illinois, with empty ethanol tanks to be handed back to the Canadian National Railroad. As we're about to see here, the two Canadian National locomotives were on the train as advertised. After seeing the CN 100th anniversary unit once more, we then moved several days later onto February 24th, 2022, and we are located at the Central Ohio Model Railroad Club in Worthington, Ohio. On this day, it was our time to come down to the club for the weekly operating session. As we were pulling into the parking lot, I heard a horn and caught a Norfolk Southern southbound mixed freight train, which I have reason to believe was NS 14Q, a daily Decatur, Illinois to Portsmouth, Ohio mixed freight train. '14Q on this day ended up being a big freight train, so would it really be practical to have just one SD70 Ace on the front pulling the entire train? Well, the answer is no, so where's the other engine? Well, it's coming up here in just a second. Very interesting train going by here, guys. Norfolk Southern Leader, Canadian Pacific DPU. Yes, that's correct. The mid-train DPU on '14Q was a big surprise for me. Tucked in between a grain car and an auto rack was some foreign power. which came in the form of a Canadian Pacific AC 4400 CW. As the end of 14Q passes me here, I thought to myself that this was the only train that I was going to see today. So I was about to get my model trains out of the car for the operating session. That was until I heard the rumble of a train coming the other direction, so I decided to stay for it. And I'm glad that I did. What you're seeing now is a Norfolk Southern northbound mixed freight train going up the Sandusky district, which I have reason to believe is NS 19M. But don't quote me on that because I did not get the symbol for this train, unfortunately. Assigned to take this mystery train over the road was a pair of Norfolk Southern GE ES44 DCs and a BNSF ES44 C4. After the locomotives of the mystery train passed me, I decided to film the rest of it from inside the club because it was only 30-something degrees outside, and it was raining, so the cold was really getting to me. After the mystery train passed the club, we then continued on with the operating session and didn't see any more trains for the rest of the night. As the Norfolk Southern Mystery Train continues its journey through the rain, this is where we now conclude yet another video. As you saw, 2022 is getting off to a decent start. Real quickly, there's something that I would like to discuss. Recently, it has come to my attention that my YouTube channel has surpassed the 200 subscriber mark. I would like to say thank you to each and every one of you that have subscribed to my YouTube channel so far because your support not only means a lot to me, but to the future of my channel, as it shows that you really like the content that I produce. So, once again, thank you for subscribing to my channel and getting me to where I stand today. Anyways, leave a like and or a comment to share your thoughts on the video. If you haven't done so already, consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and tapping the bell button to be notified when a new video gets posted. Anyways, that's all for now. This is All Ohio Railfan, signing off.